Microsoft has already become a third-party publisher. They're not transitioning, they've transitioned. Xbox as a hardware brand is finished, and everyone at Microsoft knows it. They've just stopped saying it out loud. They're becoming what Sony and Nintendo will never be. A mega publisher like EA, like Ubisoft. And the gaming industry is about to be reshaped by a company that's given up on being a console maker. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to Xbox 360. That console was Microsoft's peak. Halo, Gears of War, an online infrastructure that dominated a generation. Microsoft had the market position, the money, the exclusives. They were winning. Then 2013 happened. Xbox One revealed with an always online requirement, TV integration instead of games. And when consumers pushed back, Don Mattrick, the head of Xbox, said something that should have gotten him fired on the spot. He said, quote, "Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360. He basically told people to buy the old console instead of the new one. Microsoft never recovered from that moment. Every strategic decision since, Game Pass, multi-platform releases, the Activision acquisition, has been damage control for a wound that never healed. Asha Sharma took over as CEO of Xbox in February 2026. She inherited the worst-performing console brand in history. PlayStation dominates. Nintendo's thriving. Xbox hardware is dying. So what does she do? She says Xbox is, quote, reevaluating exclusivity. That's corporate speak for, we're not changing course, but I can't admit it publicly. And then she made the hires that exposed her real strategy. In May 2026, she brought in 5 executives. 4 of them, Jared Palmer, Tim Allen, Jonathan McKay, and Evan Chackey, came from Microsoft's CoreAI division. Not one of them has ever greenlit a game, managed a studio, or evaluated a creative pitch. Their backgrounds are engineering tools, design systems, growth optimization, and internal efficiency. The 5th, David Schloss, came from Instacart to run subscriptions and cloud. That's not a content team. That's a platform team. Then she hired Matthew Ball as Chief Strategy Officer. Ball is most famous for writing the book that made the metaverse sound inevitable, right before it became one of the biggest hype cycle failures in tech history. Meta's Reality Labs has burned through over $80 billion chasing that vision. Now Ball is in charge of predicting Xbox's future. Here's the trap Asha's in. If she comes out and says, we're a third-party publisher now, Xbox fans have no reason to exist. The identity collapses. Nobody roots for EA. Nobody roots for Ubisoft. You can't build a fan base around a publisher. So Asha's stuck. She can't admit the truth without killing what's left of the brand, but her hires already admitted it for her. Xbox has a content problem. Sony delivered God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon, Returnal, Gran Turismo, and Stellar Blade this generation. Xbox's answer was Starfield, and the new hires aren't there to fix that. They're there to optimize the storefront. But here's what the data actually shows. The big 3 franchises that defined Xbox for 2 decades, Halo, Gears of War, and Forza, are now on PlayStation. Halo Campaign Evolved launches on PS5 in 2026 day and date with Xbox. The first Halo game on a PlayStation console in the franchise's 25-year history, Gears of War Reloaded, is already there. Forza Horizon 5 launched on PS5 in April 2025. Microsoft committed to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo Switch. Indiana Jones hit PlayStation in April 2025. Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, all Microsoft games already on competing platforms. Game Pass is supposed to be the future, but it's not exclusive to Xbox. You can play it on PC, on cloud, everywhere except where it matters, actually driving console sales. The multi-platform strategy isn't temporary, it's permanent. Every release on PlayStation proves it. Microsoft already accepted they can't win the console war. But here's the thing people don't understand. Even if Microsoft wanted to reverse course tomorrow and go back to exclusives, they can't. Not quickly. Publishing contracts for multi-platform games run 4 to 7 years. New AAA game development takes 5 to 7 years minimum. So if Asha Sharma announced exclusivity today, she'd be honoring old contracts for years, then waiting half a decade for new exclusive games to ship. By the time she had a meaningful exclusive library, the PlayStation 6 would be established, Switch 3 would exist, and players would have moved on. The window to reverse this strategy closed years ago. Microsoft locked themselves in. Project Helix is Microsoft's next-generation console launching in late 2027. It's supposed to be their answer to PlayStation 6, except it's not a console, it's a PC in an Xbox box. It plays Xbox games natively. It also plays Steam games, Epic Games Store, GOG, any PC game you want. Microsoft's design philosophy is crystal clear. We can't win on exclusives, so we're just going to be the access point to all games. That's not console innovation, that's surrender. And it proves everything. Xbox isn't a gaming platform anymore. It's a storefront, a gateway to games that exist everywhere else. Sony didn't win because they're geniuses. They won because Microsoft handed them the market. But, and this is important, Sony also executed excellence while Microsoft fumbled. They funded first-party exclusives. They stayed consistent. Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man. These are games people actually want to play. Meanwhile, Microsoft had more money than Sony from day one. They could have outspent them on exclusive development without breaking a sweat. Instead, they chose Game Pass. They chose multi-platform. They chose short-term revenue over long-term brand building. Sony got lucky that Microsoft made so many catastrophic missteps. But luck only matters if you capitalize on it. Sony did. And now, while Microsoft can't figure out what it is, Sony's consolidating power and printing money. The PlayStation 6 is coming. It will have exclusives worth buying. Microsoft's response? Helix, a PC that plays Steam games. That's not competition, that's irrelevance. Here's the brutal truth. The gaming industry's next decade belongs to whoever actually cares about games instead of just chasing subscription metrics. Microsoft stopped caring years ago. They saw Game Pass as a path to infinite growth. They saw multi-platform as a way to maximize short-term revenue. They saw the $75.4 billion Activision acquisition as a Hail Mary to stay relevant. Instead, all of it backfired. Sony never stopped caring about games. They made fewer resources count. They bet on excellence. And now Microsoft is paying the price for a decade of bad decisions while Sony gets to consolidate power without even trying that hard. Microsoft bet on subscriptions. Sony bet on games. And that's why one company is dying and the other is dominating.